Hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of the Kpop Fandom Podcast. You'll notice that there is no ringtone at the beginning of this episode because we are actually all in the same room together for once and have decent microphones, so get prepared for some high quality content. Actually, well, I don't know if the content's high quality, but at least it'll sound nice. The sound is high quality. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about, so what do you guys want to start off with? Do you want to rant a little bit more about the Grammys?
I would love to rant about the Grammys.
All right, go off.
Oh, I'm starting?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like, you know, what I was saying the night of the Grammys. They're bullshit. It's so annoying to me how they always target the ones that they know deserve it. So then they give it to somebody else. I'm not saying that Lizzo or Billie Eilish or any of them didn't deserve what they got. But BTS at least deserved a nomination, and they were too, petty to give it to them. For God's sakes, Namjoon went into an interview and was like, hopefully we'll get nominated next year. I'm like, this should have been nominated this year. This is ridiculous. And he looked heartbroken.
He really did. And when they were doing their red carpet interview with Ryan, and he was talking about them finding out about performing with Lil Nas, he was like, we found out 2 weeks ago because they weren't expecting it whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, there's rules. If you haven't been nominated, you can't perform. So he was just completely surprised that they were coming at all. And he did look really hurt. Yeah. Especially because he's the one who had to say anything, because nobody else had any sort of desire to say a word.
They didn't say much at the Grammys.
No.
Which honestly, I don't blame them because they don't deserve it, in my opinion.
No. And there were a couple of articles that came out since the Grammys. I'm addicted to BuzzFeed, and they posted, I saved these actually. I actually came with receipts today, which I don't usually do. So in my bookmarks, I have the articles that they posted after the Grammys. So the first one they posted was basically an article saying BTS made history at the Grammys by being the first Korean act to ever perform when they collabed with Lil Nas X on Old Town Road. The article really doesn't have that much content to it, but it totally glosses over the fact that the only reason they were performing was because of this collaboration and not because they were there for anything they came up with or something that they were nominated for. And then the second one was, here are BTS's best moments from the Grammys. And so they put together this whole long article with pictures and tweets and stuff, and saying that I believe Namjoon was the most tweeted about person at the Grammys.
I think so.
But
him and I think Jimin too. Because of the leather he was wearing. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. But it just blows my mind that they try and stretch that much content into 2 red carpet interviews and a 40-second performance and 2 pans to them in the audience.
It's because they think that the minute that they use BTS, everyone's gonna read it, which, that may or may not be true.
I read it.
But exactly, that's my thing. I mean, I read it because you sent it to me. But it's they know that they can use them for clout. If they were on the stage for 5 seconds, they're gonna use it.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically, I think, the biggest issue behind why all of us are kind of disappointed about the Grammys, was because it was used for clout.
Literally all of it.
Literally all of it.
If BTS wasn't performing on the Grammy stage, their ratings would have went down like crazy. Mm-hmm. They would have went down because not only did they nominate them, they weren't presenters this year. I mean, obviously they were performers, which is even better. But in my opinion, the way that they made them perform was so disrespectful. All the stuff they put out, everything that they've accomplished, and you're gonna throw them on stage with Lil Nas. Again, nothing against Lil Nas X. He's a great performer. He's, the song is, I'm not too big on the song, I'm not gonna lie. But it was very popular, and I respect the success that it got. But the fact that they're just gonna throw BTS on stage with him just for not only extra clout for them, but even a little extra clout for Lil Nas, it's just ridiculous for me. Mm-hmm. I do respect how he actually brought him up on stage with them, because I love that he did that, because that did give them the opportunity. Mm-hmm. He was nice enough to say, I want BTS with me. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's the fact that they couldn't even give him one full song, it just blows my mind.
Yeah. There was also the little kid up out there who yodels.
Mason Ramsey?
Yeah, Mason Ramsey. He actually, you sent us something on Instagram where he was like, and BTS was there too.
Yeah.
When he was asked about how it was to perform on stage with Lil Nas and Billy Ray Cyrus. But, you know, just when you compare him to all of the success that BTS has had and the fact that they were essentially backup to Lil Nas, and it just, nothing about it, like people were saying on Twitter, like they made Lil Nas look like he was the backup dancer. And no, I don't really think so. Because
I think it was kind of even with their stage.
It was
a little bit even, but I feel like towards the end, it kind of made it look like Lil Nas was a little bit background, because when Jimin and Jungkook took over at the end, I was like, that was their moment. That was really good.
Yeah, I agree. And also, there were accusations that Lil Nas was lip-syncing poorly during the Grammys.
I noticed that.
I didn't really notice it during the performance, but, you know, later on, I saw tweets about it. So.
I didn't notice it. I'll have to rewatch the performance. I was focused on trying to see BTS. I may or may not have never looked at his face.
Well, yeah, I saw it, I think, yesterday for my music history class. And I was noticing that, like, he looked like he was fake playing the ukulele or whatever he was playing. And then, like, the way he had his microphone and the way the mouth was moving, it wasn't matching along with the song. And, like, I think the microphone was kind of far from him. It looked like he was literally lip singing. And I noticed that. I did notice that.
I'm so tired of them being used for clout in the US or anywhere, really. And this isn't the only time they've been treated poorly by media recently. You sent it to us on Instagram. It was I don't know where they were from, but a couple reporters were talking about like the 100 most attractive faces, and number 1 was Jungkook, and they said some pretty horrible things about him.
They were completely discriminating him. They literally said, you're going to be surprised at who's number 1. It's BTS's Jungkook, like trying so hard to pronounce his name. And they were like, kind of surprised he's number 1. Like, don't get me wrong, you know, he's a good looking person, but in my opinion, he kind of looks very feminine. I'm like, who the do you think you are? Like, I'm so sick of people looking at them saying, oh, they look like girls. Like, they can steal your girl. What's your point?
Exactly. They also, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm good.
They also said he looks more like a boy than a man, and I was like, in what universe? I don't know. I was looking at.
I think they did say that too.
They did say that. That was what was in the subtitles. Yeah. I don't know if that's. I didn't have my volume on because I was out and about. But he's 22. He doesn't look like a child. I mean, maybe if you had said that when they first debuted and he was literally like
15,
yeah. Yes, I would agree with that statement. He is 22. He is like
he's a man. He looks like one. He acts like one. He is one.
I don't know in what universe he looks like a child. I just want to say one thing real quick before we move on, that as someone who literally has a degree in journalism and had this stuff drilled into my head for 4 years of college, that seeing these journalists interviewing BTS and any K-pop group really on the red carpet or talking about them in a newscast, just the lack of preparation and research makes me like physically uncomfortable.
And it's so obvious. That's the problem.
I know. The thing that we were taught is that it's impossible to be an expert on everything, but you need to cover your bases in order to not look like an idiot when you show up for an interview. You need to do your research. You need to be prepared with your questions. You need to at least have a little bit of background going into something you're unfamiliar with. And if you don't do your research, it is so easy to come across as xenophobic, unprepared, racist, culturally insensitive, and a bunch of other horrible things. And that is what I've been seeing a lot of. Do your dang research. It is like not that hard.
Yeah, and this is why they keep getting asked the same damn questions in every interview. Literally, almost every interview, I've maybe seen 1 or 2 different questions. Everybody asks the same stuff. And it's just like going back to the thing with Jungkook, how they said, you know, oh, he looks feminine. One of the main reasons it got me so livid is like, this isn't the first time it's happened. 2 years ago when Taeyong won that same thing, they said the same shit. I don't know if it was the same people, but there was another person or another 2 reporters that said the same exact thing, that he looks like a girl. I'm like, listen, 1, don't talk about him like that. 2, no, he does not. Like, it just shocks me that they would actually have the guts to say that. I'm like,
on national TV.
Exactly, that's so disrespectful.
It is. It's completely disrespectful. There was something you wanted to say.
She said it.
Oh, she said
Yeah,
it.
she said exactly.
We here at the Kpop Fandom Podcast share exactly one brain cell between the 3 of us. So
She got it.
she got you.
She said it before I did. She said it better. Okay.
And speaking of being culturally insensitive
And disrespectful.
and incredibly disrespectful, when Stray Kids is currently on tour in the US, and I'm seeing them on the 9th when they come to Phoenix. I'm so excited. Anyway, but that's a side note. They were on the Ryan and Kelly show, and they were treated so horribly. It just blows my mind. Okay, there's a whole list of things. They got the name of their new song wrong. They got the name of the group wrong. I don't even know what to say. They called them Stray Children, and it's not even like a translation issue because the name of the group is in English. But the worst thing was, when they were actually on the show, they brought audience members onto the stage and invaded their personal space without their consent. They looked so uncomfortable, but the biggest thing that got me was that Kelly kissed Felix when they were all introducing themselves, and he clearly, I've seen the video several times, he clearly goes in for a handshake and she like kisses him on the cheek. And I know that Americans are known for being incredibly casual socially.
Yeah, but not that casual.
No.
But, like, I've seen cultures do that before where, like, they meet, but, like, I'm Middle Eastern and we do that. Like, when we meet, like, you're probably going to get a kiss on the cheek.
Yes.
But that's just disrespectful.
Americans do it. Like, I've spent a lot of time in Europe. They tend to do it. Italians do it. French do it. But I know for a fact, because I've seen a bunch of tweets all saying the same thing, that in South Korea and in other Asian cultures, you don't walk up and kiss somebody on the cheek. It is not something that you do culturally. And I know Felix is from Australia, and it's probably a different type of culture over there, but within his family, he probably had different values. He looked so uncomfortable, and there's a tag going around right now where they're saying that they should apologize, and so far I haven't seen anything. Also, he's my bias, so I'm incredibly salty that it was him, but had it been any member, I would be equally pissed off.
Who was the one that you said had anxiety?
I'm not 100% sure, but they've had issues with members and personal space in the past causing anxiety, and it's a huge issue. They're people too. Just because they're on your television show doesn't mean that you get to cancel out any sort of privacy. Yeah, they're promoting their tour, they're promoting their new album, whatever. It doesn't mean you can just pull audience members onto the stage and like assault them with your cell phones. I hope they apologize, because Stray Kids definitely deserves it. But it's not all bad. There's been some really good treatment by the media, and it happened last night on the late night show. I'm so happy. It was incredible.
The Late Late Show with
Late Late
James
Show
Corden.
with James Corden.
Say the show correctly. We can't be hypocrites.
I'm sorry. There's so many late night
No, you're
shows.
right. You're right.
It's the Late Late Show.
It's the Late Late Show.
Yeah,
with
because
James
there's like
Corden.
Late Late Show with James Corden, the Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Yes.
There's the Tonight Show. There's
I was on
Jimmy
the-
Kimmel Live.
Nikki doesn't know her late night television very well. As you can tell, I never watch it unless there's somebody on that I
no,
care
me too.
about.
Honestly, me too.
They all blend together.
Yeah, but anyways, if we're really gonna talk about that, Okay, first, the interview was so adorable. James Corden, I've always loved James Corden. He's such an amazing interviewer, and he always treats his guests so well, as far as I've heard. And he's always done really well with BTS, like when they did Flinch, is this their first time performing on a show? Or they? No. Yeah, no, I didn't think so, yeah.
Because they did Fake Love, they did DNA, and then now.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, and it was just like, he always treats them so well. So, first with the interview, it was so adorable. Mm-hmm. Like, for God's sakes, did you guys hear Hobie and Tae's English?
Yes.
Listen.
Hobie, though.
Hobie did amazing, but I want to say one thing about Tae. He really said this was one of the hottest things I've ever heard him say. He said, "What do you guys do when you mess up the choreo?" And Tae goes, "It's not in my vocabulary." Oh my. Dude, listen, it was almost midnight, okay? My parents are sleeping. I wanted to scream. I was like, he really just said that. He really just.
Oh my God. And also, I about died with Hobie's English because he sounded so good. Like, not rehearsed, like I've heard him in the past where he, like, has the sentence in his head and he's just gonna say his thing. But he
was so confident.
Yeah, he's, like, responding actively to the questions. I'm so proud of him. And when he was asked about the choreo, like making a mistake or something because he's literally the main dancer, he's like, I don't care.
It's so adorable. And I'm like, I love that. Like, who cares? Like, you make a mistake, who cares? Like, that's the mindset you need to have.
But the thing is that every time someone else makes a mistake, then he goes like, oh, just turns at him like...
Listen, Hobie has the right to. He can do whatever he wants.
You know damn well he doesn't make mistakes.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why he doesn't care.
What I liked about the interview is that Namjoon wasn't the one really talking as much. He let all the other members interact with them. So I thought that was really cool. And it was super, super cute when Yoongi said the Grammy, the part, the whole performance, even though it's trash. But, I mean, they still want it, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it.
She means the Grammys are trash, not the performance.
Yeah. That's what it is.
And you could tell, like, if you look at the red carpet interviews that they had, they weren't really... Nobody besides Namjoon, because he's the spokesperson.
Like, somebody had to talk.
Somebody had to talk. You could tell that nobody else was really interested in speaking, but on this interview, everybody wanted to talk. You could tell they were comfortable. You could tell that they were, like, you know, so excited. Good. And it was great. Oh, and there's also the performance.
Listen.
Low-key.
Listen. That was one of my favorite choreos.
Yeah.
The outfits were sexy as hell. Dude. They were barefoot, which I honestly thought was amazing. This is literally like, Tae loves being barefoot. I'm like, this is his dream performance.
I know. I kept hearing rumors about, like, sheer shirts, which turned out to be a lie.
They wore it.
I was looking.
They wore it. It's just because they had blazers on. Okay. You didn't see it as well. No, they did. I saw it. Yeah. Okay.
Just
trust me. I was keeping it out for that.
Oh my God.
No, but I want to say real quick, I wholeheartedly believe that Veeman owned this performance.
Oh wait, you're right. Yeah, that is see-through.
Him and Hobie.
Yeah, but I wholeheartedly believe that Veeman owned this performance.
Yes.
Jimin's vocals, and like you said, I'm gonna let you say it. You say it.
Oh, Jimin has no bones, guys. That's it.
I know. And okay, so you guys may remember, and it might be kind of salty that you guys may remember that in episode 6, I said that I didn't really like Black Swan and that I didn't really care for the art videos. She was rolling her eyes at me. But after watching this performance and seeing the choreo and, you know, watching them just having a really awesome time, I definitely like the song more. I like seeing them perform it. I think that was my main thing.
Oh yeah, because in the music video it wasn't them.
Because in the music video, it was very interesting and unique, and I'm glad that they experimented, like I said before. But I wanted to see them perform it because, I mean, Namjoon co-wrote the song. They were gonna have, I mean, it's brand new choreo because in Shadow we didn't really get too much of that. Yeah, it was mainly just Yoongi, you know, doing his thing, but he wasn't really doing any sort of dancing. So I was excited to see fresh choreo from BTS, and we finally got it, and it is freaking spectacular. I am so in love with this song.
I have one thing to say for the choreo. Soap.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? I couldn't take my eyes off
I
Hobie
know,
the entire
dude.
performance.
That one part with Yoongi and Hobie when they went like,
Yes.
I don't know, I forgot exactly. I'm not gonna start dancing right now, but plus you guys can't see. So, but that one part on stage when they're like, you know, holding their hands and like, I forgot what it was, but I was like shook at that part. I was like, I literally screamed when I saw. I literally just screamed. I was like, we got so.
I know, I love the moment when they were both on stage. You could just tell they
It
were
was amazing.
having so much
Honestly,
fun.
they have. I wholeheartedly believe that they kind of have like the best chemistry.
They do.
They're
completely
such
believe
good
that.
friends, and it's the cutest thing to me. But vocally, Tay owned this. Don't hate me.
No, you're completely
You're
right.
Like this, I think that Tay, like the song was made for him because it's so much deeper and it's darker, and it's like Big Hit had to finally be like, yeah, we got to give him lines, and it's like, damn right you do, give him those lines, and he owned that performance. Like I saw him up in the front so many times, I wanted to cry. I was like, he's getting the spotlight he deserves. This is finally his time. I'm like, this is gonna be his album. This is gonna be his album.
Yeah, I completely agree, because if we're talking like dark songs and rapping, I think of Yoongi, but if you're thinking like dark vocals, I think of Tay.
Yeah, because his deep voice is so
the
freaking
VCR
beautiful.
when we were seeing the taping of the concert from Seoul the second day or whatever it was in theaters, and that VCR of Tay, and it was all dark.
Oh
Like,
my god.
That's like the vibes I was getting from this.
Yeah.
And I'm still a little salty about the music video not being them, but if they had done like that, the concept of like that VCR and Black Swan, I would have loved the song from the get-go. It's still not 100%, like I like Shadow more if we're talking a comparison between the two,
Which is fair.
and it has a better music video.
Yeah.
But I now appreciate the song so much more after seeing their choreo and them performing it.
I also feel like there was so much symbolism within the choreography, like in the beginning and in the end, how they acted like they were puppets on a string. I was like, that means something. Like that's deep. Anytime I see stuff like that in choreography, it just blows my mind. Especially because it literally looks like they were tied to strings. Like the way that they had their bodies, I'm like, damn, if I did that, I'd look so stupid. But the way they did it, I'm like, can we cut those strings off of them? Like set them free. It was so good. I can't. Sorry, that was really cringy, but
No, that's completely fair. That's completely fair. And also, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm not. No, I just loved the performance. It was something very different, and also really, 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 really good. I loved Namjoon's part, like the way he was rapping and just the way he looked. I was like, oh my god, this is like really. I don't know. I liked it. It was so good. They did amazing. Loved it.
I love it. And the hide and seek.
I was just about to
they
say
played
that.
with Ashton Kutcher.
Yo, listen, I want to say one thing. Namjoon stabbed Jungkook in the back. He really went to Ash and was like, yeah, he's the cameraman. I'm like, no. Like, he could have been the last one found. I don't know where the hell Hobie went.
No.
Like, I had an idea of where everybody else was, but then nobody could find Hobie. And then I don't know how the hell James found him, but I was like, where did that dude disappear to?
Yeah, he just went poof and he was
Yes.
gone.
And then Tay in the back, when he had the headset on, when James found him, he didn't want to move. It was like, it looked like I feel like this is what's going through his head. Like, maybe if I stay still enough, he'll forget that I'm here.
He's such an idiot.
He still had the headset on.
I know he still had the headset on when he left.
Yeah, Yoongi took his off and he's just like sitting on stage with the headset still
He's
on.
holding the cutest part. Yes, and Yoongi was like pouting when he got found. He was like, oh, I'm like,
And
listen.
can we talk about Jin?
Oh my god, my favorite
He
part.
carried Jin over his shoulder, and not to mention when he did find him, he was scared. He jumped. He was like, "Oh my god! Like, what are you doing here?" And then this bitch really just goes, flips him over his shoulder. I'm like, this is the greatest game of hide and seek I've ever seen in my life.
And then he picked up Jimin.
Yeah, he literally picked him up like from under his arms. He looked so uncomfortable, but it made for a good show. Ashton is so cute. He's awesome.
Literally, JK was in front of him with the camera, and he passed right by him
They both did.
him.
Even James didn't see him. It was so funny. Like he Jung knows how to hide. He could have won that if Namjoon didn't give him away. But I feel like the main reason he did is because there was only like a minute left of the show, so they needed to end it. So they had to find him. They had to find them somehow.
Yeah, it was incredible. I loved it.
I loved it. It was literally the most entertaining game of hide and seek I've ever seen in my life.
It was fantastic.
Freaking amazing.
I got a message from one of my Twitter friends this morning, and she's like, "Oh my god, the show was perfect. We can forget about the Grammys now." And I was like, "You are completely right.
Yes.
We don't even need to think about it anymore. We've talked about it, we've ranted, and this totally replaced how mad I was."
And people even said that the way to like really just piss off the Grammys is give James so much more views and reviews and everything than the Grammys ever got. Just to like give him a slap in the face. I'm like, good. They deserve it.
Exactly. And a bunch what?
No, I'll say something right now. Sorry, we can't forget before we go. Can't wait. We might get a carpool karaoke with BTS.
I was about to say that. Yes. I'm so glad she said it because you haven't said shit this episode.
I'm sorry. No, I'm good.
Dude, listen.
I'm so excited.
It's been confirmed.
I know,
People are saying it's been confirmed. And I'm like, carpool karaoke is my favorite segment on James Corden. I've been dying for BTS to go on it. He finally got the van. He might do it. And I'm just like, oh my god, you're gonna see me cry. And I swear to god, if James, like, you know how James always learns the lyrics, because like I said, he does his research. He's an amazing talk show host. If he learns the lyrics in Korean and he just starts spitting that out, I'm gonna cry laughing. It's gonna be amazing. I can't. I'm so excited.
And also, ARMY's donated a bunch of money to a British charity that like gives meals for disadvantaged kids. I think they donated £7,500. Wow. Which I'm not sure what the exchange rate is now, but I know the pound is more than the dollar. So $10,000.
It's a good amount of money.
I'm just guessing. It's a lot of money, and it's a lot of meals for kids that need it. So, I mean, if you treat ARMYs right, we do lots of good things, but we're not afraid to call people out on their bullshit either. I disagree with the statement that like we're toxic or anything like that, because like we just get mad about things that...
I will admit, we're defensive. We're defensive as hell.
Yeah, we get defensive about things that are worth getting defensive about, but when something really good happens, we see that too, and we give back as well. Yeah. So just putting that out there as well. But okay, what were we gonna talk about next? Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about that first? Since I've talked over the top of you this entire episode.
Yeah, you guys have your moment. Go ahead.
So we're kind of like upset a little bit and very sad that Jooheon from Monsta X right now is taking a leave of absence due to his anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think he's been off for a couple of weeks now, and right now Monsta X is just promoting as 5 members, which every time I see a video that they're posting or any sort of promotional anything on their social media, it just breaks my heart, because I'm like, there's not supposed to be 5 of you, there's supposed to be 7 of you, but things have just not been going as well for them recently. They've got an album coming out on Valentine's Day, which is low-key gonna be my date that day. Yes, I know. It's true though. I mean, like, why not admit it? Cena's cringing so hard right now. But like, the fact that they're promoting without him, it really breaks my heart, because I think part of this was triggered by Wonho leaving and all of the additional stress that was put on them as a result. I mean, I don't know how open he's been about this in the past, but he wrote on Fan Cafe, the Monsta X Fan Cafe, and I read the translation of what he wrote, and it absolutely shattered my heart into a million little pieces. He was like, I'm debating about writing at all, but I wanted, he feels obligated to update people on how he's doing, and he's not really doing very well. He's on medication for it, and I'm pretty sure the line, "I'm sitting in my room in the dark crying," is what he wrote. I don't know how accurate the translation was, but it was, I don't think, like, even if the translation isn't perfect, that is some pretty heavy stuff. And I mean, like, I know people who suffer from anxiety, like people in my own family even, and I know how difficult it is on people. So the fact that he's like also going through this and has to be so much still in the public eye, even when he's on hiatus, it really breaks my heart.
It's not just for them. I mean, yeah, for Jooheon too, it's very sad, but also all the other 5 members too, you know? Like, it just came out of nowhere. Like, first they had a debut with Follow, right? And then right after, that's when Wonho was leaving, but they still had a debut and do all this promotion with that. So I can't even imagine what type of, like, stress and, like, anxiety that they're going to as well.
Yeah, because they had to take over Wonho's vocal parts. Like, I'm not sure Kyoon is taking over all of Wonho's vocal parts, which, you know, he was backup mostly, but that's still a lot of work. And it wasn't like Stray Kids where a member left before they released the album and they were able to release it later and adjust, you know, the parts and everything for most of it, for the songs that they hadn't released. But they didn't get an opportunity. Monsta X did not get that opportunity. The album dropped and then he left, and they were in the middle of promoting everything, so they had to figure it out like as they were going. So
one thing that I will say, I don't know much about the situation because I will admit I don't keep up with Monsta X, but one thing I will admit after just hearing what you guys say, I really respect him for actually going out and saying something, because I feel like a lot of K-pop idols, they'll be going through this stuff, but they'll stay so silent and they're like being tortured in silence, and it breaks my heart. So I really like that he actually came out and said, listen, I need a break. Like, I feel like he's standing up for himself in that aspect. So I respect him for that, but I wish him well. That's heartbreaking.
I 100% agree with that. I respect him for, you know, taking his mental health into consideration, you know, actually seeking help and getting on medication and, you know, taking steps to make himself feel better. But just the fact that he's going through it at all is just really, really sad. So I hope that, you know, they're going on tour this summer and Yesenia is going, so she's super excited. I've spent way too much money on concert tickets so far this year, and we're probably gonna go see BTS. So we're definitely gonna go see BTS. So I had to save my money, but they're going on a world tour this, or for sure a US tour this summer. So he, I guess, has to be back in time for that. So I hope he has enough time to turn everything around for himself. But, you know, if he doesn't, I'd say cancel the tour, to be honest with you. I think mental health above everything else is the most important thing, especially because of all they've been through at the end of 2019.
And I feel like what most people don't realize is, honestly, sometimes mental health can be so much more damaging than physical. Like, I've been through a lot of physical stuff. You guys know about me. I'm not going to go and tell my whole life story on this podcast. But I've been through a lot of stuff physically, but like the past couple of years, I have been having trouble with my mental health, and it's so much worse than anything I've been through, in my opinion. You know, like, mental health can damage you in so many ways, not only mentally, but it can also damage you physically. If you think about it, you know, you become more fatigued. You like lose your motivation. You don't want to do much.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like the fact that he's actually speaking out and saying, I need this. I love that.
Me too.
I respect him on so many levels for that.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. It's not a pleasant thing to talk about, but we think it's important to talk about these things because it's not just album releases and performances and concerts and interviews and, you know, idols having a good time and being cute and all that stuff. There's real stuff that happens too, like this. And we feel like it's important to talk about it because it's not all just a performance, if you think about it.
Yeah.
What was the next thing we were going to talk about?
You wanted to talk about Jay real quick.
Oh, yeah. So on a little bit more positive note, I don't really have much like content-wise to say about this, but I didn't talk about it last episode. So I've been so blessed by Day 6 on Instagram since they got their separate accounts, I think January 1st. I'm just so excited for everything that Jay is up to right now. He's doing I think he actually said it's pronounced like Eaj It's so cringy. I'm sorry.
J backwards.
It's J backwards. Very original. His Eaj Project, where he's releasing some original music. He released LA Trains, which is my Kpop last episode, and I love it so much. And he's releasing Other Side. His vocals are one of my favorite things on this planet. So the fact that we're getting a collaboration and another original song from him just in a couple of days has me so shook. And he's been going live a lot. I wish the boy would save his lives so I could watch them if I missed them, but he's like, no, we're gonna keep it organic. I'm like, I hate you, but I also love you. And he doesn't ever save them. He went live when Yesenia and I were out shopping for concert outfits because we're seeing Eric Nam this weekend. We're gonna freak out about that next episode, don't you worry. And he went live when we were shopping, and I watched some of it because he was talking about his songwriting process, but I didn't really get to see much of it, and he didn't save it, so I'm low-key a little salty, but I could literally listen to him talk about his songwriting process for like 6 hours straight, and I may or may not have tweeted that. And someone's like, 24 hours if I could, and they quoted it, and I'm like, you know what, you're right. So yeah, I'll like talk about that more when it's actually released, but I just wanted to fangirl a tiny bit about that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to cover.
Yeah.
I mean, next week we're gonna be, because we don't have a schedule, I'm just saying next week because it sounds better. But next episode. Next episode, thank you, Sina. She had the brain cell this time. Next episode, I'm definitely going to be talking about what Jay's been up to. Also, he's coming out with a podcast, so I hope that episode drops before we talk again. If not, I'm going to talk about his new music.
The Eric Nam concert.
Yeah, Yesenia and we have VIP tickets to see Eric Nam. We're going to post the photo. It's going to be great. And just more about the BTS comeback, because there's going to be more stuff. I haven't looked at the schedule recently, but I know that there's going to be stuff next week, like concept photos and Ego.
Ego, yeah.
It's not a full thing. It's a teaser for Ego. And then we're getting concept photos so I can finally figure out what version of the album I want to order. Sina's not okay.
I'm not prepared for those concept photos, but you damn right I'm excited. Anyways, so let's do Kpops.
Yeah, sure. I went first last time, so somebody else gets to go first this time.
Okay, so my K-pop, it's gonna be one K-pop and then one original. So my K-pop has been Make It Right, because I've been listening to that a lot lately, the original of course. And my second one is Set Me Free by Avenged Sevenfold. It's one of I think one of my favorite songs from them. It's so freaking good, even though it's like 6 minutes long. But I love it so much. They did super good on this album, and it's amazing.
Oh my god. I guess I'll just go next. I'm also going to do the same thing where I'm going to recommend one K-pop song and one non-K-pop song. So my K-pop song is the new NCT 127 anniversary song, Dreams Come True, that they released recently. I showed Yesenia the music video, and it is the cutest thing I've seen in my entire life. It is giving me extreme 90s vibes, like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. They're just like snapping their fingers. It's like soft focus. It's such a cute song. They look so good. And my boy Johnny got a verse. I'm Johnny biased, so I just lost my shit when everybody like circled in around him and he starts rapping. I'm like, this is it. This is the best thing I've seen with my eyes. I'm so happy. Sina's judging me so hard right now.
Do the next one.
And then my next one is Blue by Keshi. I've been super into Keshi lately. I just found his music randomly on Spotify, but then Jay and Dowoon also like posted song recommendations from some of my favorite songs by him. Dowoon posted about Skeletons and Jay posted about Atlas, which are my two favorites, but Blue has also been really growing on me recently. It's excellent. Please check him out. He also follows Jay and Jay follows him, so if they collab,
because that's all that matters. They follow each other.
They
guys.
do. If they collab, I might die. Anyway.
Okay, moving on. So I'm doing the same, if you couldn't tell, by literally everyone else. No, so my K-pop is might be a little bit surprising just because it's really old, but I feel like it doesn't get enough credit. Do You by Namjoon.
Nice.
I've been listening to his first mixtape a lot for the past few months, and it's my favorite track off of the mixtape. And I love it with all my heart, and I think it's like the coolest thing ever. Anyways, and then my non-K-pop one would have to be, did I say non-K-pop? I hate myself. Non-K-pop. My non-K-pop song is Anyone by Demi Lovato. I want to give a quick shout out to her. Her performance at the Grammys, I cried. And I was literally like, I was on FaceTime with them, and right before we were about to record the episode for the Grammys, that performance came on, and I'm on FaceTime trying to hold back tears, and they were like, are you guys ready to do the episode? I'm like, give me a second. Like, it was so beautiful. In my opinion, I thought it was the performance of the night. Demi Lovato stole everything, like anything else anybody else did, except for BTS, because they did amazing. It was like, didn't even happen. But I do want to give a shout out to my queen, Ariana Grande, because she's amazing. But that song that Demi performed was so beautiful and full of emotion. Like, I couldn't help but cry, especially the fact that she performed it live. When she first started, she couldn't do it. You know, she cried and they had to restart the song, and I'm like, that automatically broke my heart. And then towards the ending, you could literally hear all of the emotions. Like, I swear, it's like she's crying out for help, and I'm like, girl, I hear you. I love you. It is literally my all-time favorite song right now, and it's so beautiful. So please go check that out, and check out her performance too, because if you don't cry, you have no soul.
Well, we're probably gonna wrap it up because we've ranted for way longer than we
Expected.
Typical. But we'll see you guys next episode. Hopefully talking about all the stuff that I mentioned. And anyway, we'll see you then. Bye. JK.
No.
How come I'm the only person who ever remembers to do it?
Wait, was that planned to continue doing it?
No, I just decided it was gonna be.
No, I thought we were just doing it that one time for the meme.
Well, I can't let it die.
JK! No, we're actually going now. Bye.